Hello, Long Beach. Welcome to Career Callings. Today I'm with Mr. Woody Bailey, the Executive Director for Cruisin the Coast. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your responsibilities as the Executive Director of Cruisin the Coast?
Sure. Dominic, I'm from Gulfport. I've lived in Gulfport all my life, other than being off in college and law school and things of that nature. Moved back here full time after all that in '79, and have been involved in my family business over the years in home building and building supply and also tourism. We own Holiday Inns here along the Gulf Coast, so that's kind of where I got my tourism background, as well as loading lumber trucks when I was a kid growing up. I loaded lumber trucks and then did a little bellhopping too at our Holiday Inn. Continued in our business, and then we founded Cruisin the Coast, got it started in 1996. We were looking for something to help the economy of South Mississippi out at a typical slow time of the year. And the business people got together. A lot of people think it were car clubs folks that got together that start the event, but it was really a business decision to start Cruisin the Coast. And that was, like I say, in '95 of the formation years of the event, and so we started in '96. We started with 374 cars, and just so you'll have a perspective there, last year, that was in '96, 374. This past year, in '23, we had 10,070 cars that showed up for Cruisin the Coast from 45 states, Canada, Germany, and England. So it's grown a lot. It's grown a lot more than we thought it would. And so Cruisin the Coast, like I say, started in '96, and I took over. I've been on the board since that time of the very beginning. I took over in 2008. And I thought I would probably just help run the event and be the executive director for a few years and then hire somebody and then resume my role on the board. But I've been doing it since '08, so I've been doing it a little over 15 years now. So it's been an exciting time to do that and to watch the growth of Cruisin the Coast. But you ask about being executive director. We have a lot of things that go on to put this event together. And it takes a lot of work. We only have 3 people that are in the office full time, and then we end up getting about 1,400 volunteers. Our core volunteer group is the backbone of Cruisin the Coast are our 12 car clubs that we have from Louisiana. We have one in Slidell, and we also have several here on the Gulf Coast, and we have one reach out into Mobile. So a lot of things that I do are work with those car clubs, work with our staff, and to put on the event, and that's the main objective. And that involves a lot. We have to get sponsors on board. We have to raise money. Our budget is now approaching close to $2 million, so that's a lot of money to raise. And we raise it in various sources from businesses that sponsor the event. And I'm involved in working with that to bring those folks on board. To the state of Mississippi, we work with state tourism. So there are a lot of things that are involved to make this event happen each year. And so that's just some of the things that I do as far as executive director. We have to maintain our bank accounts. We have to deal with insurance. I run it just like I did my businesses when I was running my own businesses. So it's a big business. Like I say, with a $2 million budget roughly, there's a lot to look after and take care of. Just recently was negotiating our contract with the Coliseum. We have two big events there, actually 3 events at the Coliseum. We have an autocross, we have a swap meet, and we have a big auction, a car auction that happens. So negotiating contracts, and that, as I mentioned, I practiced law for several years, so my law background has helped me with this as well. So it's a myriad of things that go on to put on Cruisin the Coast. We look at our advertising budgets we have to deal with, placing advertisement, things of that nature. So we have to check a lot of boxes to work to put this thing together. So there are a lot of different duties that I do as executive director, and try to be an ambassador for the event as much as I can. Doing interviews with y'all is one, and I talk to a lot of groups along the Gulf Coast and outside of the Gulf Coast about Cruisin the Coast, and trying to spread the word about the event and have people come down here, because as I was saying earlier, we started the event to help the economy of South Mississippi at a typical slow time of the year, and thus far it's it's really doing its job.
Are there any degrees or certifications that someone would need if they also wanted to pursue a career in tourism?
Well, there are probably a number of degrees in various colleges and universities around for to specialize in tourism. I'm, I guess, a little different and unique in the fact that I majored in political science and history, and I graduated from the University of Alabama. Then I went on to Ole Miss Law School and graduated from law school and practiced law. So I don't really have any sort of a tourism degree, but I mentioned about me growing up in the hotel business as well. So I guess I learned mine through kind of hard knocks as far as tourism. But yes, there are degrees that are offered at various colleges and all that you can if you're leaning in that direction. Like say, I didn't know I was going to end up where I am today, but the things just worked out that way.
Was there a moment that led you to decide that you wanted to be in the tourism industry, or was it kind of the decision?
Well, to me, the tourism industry is very important to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It is an exciting industry and one that it's not a polluter. We're not like a power plant. We're not polluting the air. It's a real clean industry, and we're so well suited for it. So I guess that moment started, back when I was young, growing up, because like I say, running hotels and being involved. So things just evolved with me along the way. So there wasn't any particular moment that made me, lean in the direction I'm in. Mine just kind of was a pathway that developed, and probably I should be practicing law right now, but I chose not to do that for very long, and wanted to be involved in businesses. So I moved in the direction that I'm currently in. And like I say, mine was pretty multifaceted, because I was in building supply, real estate, insurance, land development, home building, that sort of thing, as well as running hotels. And so now I've pretty well sold most of all those other businesses, and so now I'm full time in tourism by running Cruisin the Coast.
What does the average workday look like for you?
Well, it really varies, and this time of the year, after the event, things do slow down a little bit, but not that much. Right after the event, we're paying bills and having follow-up meetings. Now we have 12 cities in all 3 coast counties involved with Cruisin, and I'm still doing follow-up meetings. So that's what I'm doing this time of the year. We're also working toward next year, and next year will be our 28th year. So 2 years after that will be our 30th anniversary. So we're looking, for that as well. But, I'm usually in the office around 8:30, and we run around to about 4 each day. And it sometimes is a matter of doing a lot of paperwork and taking care of things that are not that exciting, or it might be thinking about, can we get Jay Leno involved in Cruisin the Coast like we had him a couple of years ago. So it really varies each day. I do plan out my days and my weeks as far as what I'm going to be doing. There's a lot of time spent on the phone working with people in the various areas, like I say, with our volunteers and our sponsors. And then working with the state and the cities. I'm planning on meeting with the state legislature and also state tourism coming up, so I'm setting those things up. So it's a varied day, and it's one that I like, because sometimes there are things that come up you really don't expect, but I do try to plan each day as far as what I do.
Okay. What are some advantages and disadvantages of working in the tourism industry?
Well, I want to say most of them are, I would say, advantageous to do that, I would think, because from housekeeping to being a bartender or a server in a restaurant, or working in marketing, or working as a general manager or executive director, you get a lot of advantages because you get to meet so many people. You know, like I was saying with Cruising the Coast, we have 45 states that, you know, that are represented along with the foreign countries. I didn't get a chance to meet everybody, but that's one of the great things about tourism. You get to, you know, having grown up here, you get to promote the area that you live in and that you believe in. And it's a, you know, it's just an interesting thing. The disadvantages, like I say, I don't see very many. You know, it's a people business, just like I found in any other business that you go into. You're really dealing with a lot of people, and for people, you know, we're talking about careers and things of that nature, and what you may want to major in when you go into college, if college is something you choose to do. I used to think that psychology and sociology and things of that nature, when I was growing up or in college, I didn't put a whole lot of stock in that. But those are some areas that you ought to really think about when you're going to school, because you really end up dealing with people throughout your life, whether it's tourism or practicing law or selling real estate or whatever it might be. Understanding people, and they talk about body language and things of that nature, about the people you're talking with. All that's really important, and I see that now from looking back. So for the folks that are listening to this, maybe, you know, they want to consider that, because it is a real people business, and so there's not a whole lot of disadvantages to this industry, and I think we here on the Gulf Coast have a bright future for tourism. The chemistry and the tourism really works for Cruising the Coast. I mean, it's amazing all the people that show up here to participate. Then there's so many people here that we advertise and try to promote to from all over the area as spectators. We don't really say, hey, bring your car. If you look at our advertising, you know, 3 months out from the event, we're trying to get people here from all over to come see this event, because we want people to enjoy the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and so we've just got a great place to live, and tourism is a great thing. So you ought to consider, you know, and the listeners ought to consider tourism as a potential livelihood down the road.
What do you think a salary range would be for someone if they wanted to work in the tourist industry?
You know, I hadn't really looked at that closely, but I know I would think from someone who is a housekeeper or the janitorial area, the lower end of the spectrum, I would think, you know, I think that's pretty much in the $10 to $20 an hour range, I would think. But then when you move up to front desk clerk, or, you know, someone in advertising or marketing, that would be a whole nother level. I would think that would be somewhere in the $30,000 to $50,000 range. And when you're talking about a general manager, you're looking somewhere above that. So there's a pretty broad range, I think, for salaries. I don't know specifically, but those are some of the ranges, I would think.
A lot of students are looking for community service opportunities. Are there any of those with Cruising the Coast?
That's interesting that you bring that up. That's one of the subjects that I'm looking at right now. Our age range for volunteers for Cruising the Coast, and we're looking for volunteers now, starts at 18. And I'm going to be talking, and that's really from an insurance standpoint. So I'm going to be talking to our insurance carrier and seeing if there's a possibility that we can reduce that to 16. Don't know if that's possible or not. That would include more people in high school here at Long Beach High and other high schools that could hopefully participate with Cruising. So we're going to be looking at that as far as volunteers, and I hope we can open that door a little wider to get us, a younger group in that can help us, because one of the things, like I was saying, we depend on volunteers tremendously to put the event on. Around 1,400 volunteers overall, so that's a pretty large workforce. And being a volunteer for Cruising is a neat thing to do. You get to see for Cruising, for example, you get to see all the cars. You get to be an ambassador for the Mississippi Gulf Coast, talk to the people about the area, and tell them your experiences about it. So I'm hoping we can reduce that age range. But right now it's 18 and up to volunteer for our event, and that's probably the rule for most of the events on the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Okay. Is there any general advice you'd like to give the students watching?
Well, I would say work toward your dreams and your thoughts. When I was in high school, I had pretty well decided that I wanted to go to a college and I wanted to go to law school. Maybe I was a little ahead of the game. I did start off in business school, and I ended up in political science and history, and thinking that that would help me more in law school because I do a lot of essay writing in law school, and I think it helped me. Then I get on the other side after I get out and practice law, and then I wished I'd have spent more time in the business area. So if you can have a little bit of a direction, it would be great to try to follow that. But if you're undecided, maybe just go and get a general business degree, or if the liberal arts and those areas are of your interest, pursue that. Whatever your thoughts and your dreams are, I would head in that direction. But and then in some instances, maybe someone may want to go into the trades, and that's very well needed. I learned that from being in the home building business, and also as far as cruising the coast, mechanics and carpentry and all sorts of skills are needed too. So there's a lot of different ways to go, and but I would say to keep your grades good and keep working hard, and good things will come your way. It's hard to have a direct path sometimes, and you can see from my pathway, I've gone through a lot of different things, been involved in a lot of different things, and I've ended up, fully planted in the tourism industry. So I would just say keep your eyes open and look for opportunities, and go after those things that interest you the most.
Do you have any additional comments or anything you want to add?
Well, I would say, like I say, just keep pursuing what you're doing in your classwork, and it will give you rewards down the road. There's time to play, but there's also time to work too. And when you have those goals out there, just keep working toward those goals. And I wish everybody the best. And it's a great world out there, and a lot of opportunities for someone who's willing to work for them, and just keep working for those goals.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.